Greetings and salutations, everybody. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the fantasy football hidden gems of Week 2. Now, what exactly does that mean, Andrew? Well, for Week 2 of the regular season, I scoured the earth in search of these powerful hidden gems in order to complete my already deadly fantasy lineups. Now, if you're familiar with the Fantasy Gauntlet, you'll know that all 6 of these gems, separately, yes, they are powerful. But with the harnessment of my gauntlet, I will be able to not only rain down supremely on my opponents this week, but I'll be able to be successful throughout the fantasy season. Okay, so what I exactly tend to do here is to tell you where I found these fantasy gems, and not only that, how I seek to use them to my success and dominance into the future. Now, without further ado, before we begin, I want to thank all of our subscribers, and let's get moving, shall we? Hello, everybody. As you can see, I am already equipped with the Fantasy Gauntlet. Now, what exactly does that mean? That means I've already collected all six stones and gems in order to be supremely powerful this week. Now, as you can see on the screen, the first gem I went after was the Power Stone in order to collect Brandon Marshall. Now, let's talk about Brandon Marshall for a little bit, shall we? Brandon Marshall this week as the Power Stone. Yes, look at it. Yes. You see that purple gem right there? Yes. Brandon Marshall. So, Brandon Marshall this week. Why did I go to Seattle to pick up the Power Stone? Well, I wanted to harness the ability of the Power Stone through Brandon Marshall because of the injuries that took place in Seattle with Doug Baldwin. Doug Baldwin is going to be out for the next couple weeks with that MCL strain. And the only 2 offensive weapons that I can notably see besides Chris Carson or Rashad Penny in the backfield would be Brandon Marshall and Tyler Lockett. This coming week, I see Brandon Marshall as a hidden gem, found him in Seattle, and I think I 100% believe that because of the fact that Doug Baldwin is no longer being able to play due to his injury, and the fact that Jimmy Graham is no longer with the organization, he was a main red zone target. I think Brandon Marshall fits into this organization. Going against the Bears on Monday Night Football, Brandon Marshall is going to be a target for many of Russell Wilson's dropbacks because, honestly, Tyler Lockett isn't going to be able to get open every play. Brandon Marshall has the ability, and he has the size advantage over many of his opponents. I see Brandon Marshall fitting in perfectly into this fantasy gauntlet in order to give your squad, or potentially my team, which I will be using him, for power, the Purple Stone. Okay, so let's continue on with our next stone. We're going to be going after the Tesseract. The Space Stone. The Space Stone. Now, where did I find the Space Stone? Well, I thought to myself, the Space Stone might, or most likely, will be with a quarterback. Throwing dimes left and right. Case Keenum in Week 1 looked fantastic against the Seattle defense. I think coming into Week 2, Case Keenum with all those weapons, a solid offensive line, right? Having Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Cortland Sutton, running backs like Royce Freeman and Phillip Lindsay surrounding him. Case Keenum can be a hidden gem this week for your fantasy lineup, especially going into a good matchup versus a Raiders defense who I believe is already split up. Case Keenum will set to pick them apart and just dominate. I see Case Keenum being a great hidden gem for this coming week. That's why I have settled him as the Space Stone for Week 2 of the fantasy season. Okay, going into the Reality Stone. Okay, now here's the reality of this situation. James White is the only healthy running back in the New England backfield. I found James White in Foxborough, where I found this Reality Stone, and found myself the ability to perhaps start James White in a flex position this week because Rex Burkhead, not completely healthy. Yes, he may have practiced today, but a concussion and a knee injury could, swiftly change during a game if he's hit hard, right? Sony Michel, yes, he's practicing, but are they full go-ahead on him? I don't think so. I think James White having his 100% health, having 9 targets from last week, a touchdown, being able to work on the ground. James White is a vital part of this New England Patriots offense, and I see him this week as a hidden gem for a start at a flex position in one of your leagues, on one of your teams potentially. You see he's on, where's the redstone? I got him on the thumb over there. You see that? Perfect. I see James White as a great sleeper / hidden gem this coming week. Now, going into the next player next stone that I want to refer to, the Soul Stone. Now, as many of you know, the Soul Stone requires a lot of sacrifice in order to get full value out of it and to collect it. The way I see it, Kenny Golladay is going to be the Soul Stone for this week, and I will be sacrificing Marvin Jones. I believe that, yes, Kenny Galladay's performance on Monday may have been a fluke because Matthew Stafford had already thrown 5 interceptions and he was just throwing garbage time plays, but Kenny Golladay looked good. Earlier on in the preseason, they were using 2 wide receiver sets in which Marvin Jones was not included. I think Kenny Golladay, going into week 2 of the regular season versus that 49ers defense, has a great opportunity to be a hidden gem for you and your fantasy lineup in order to reign supreme on your opponents. I think Golladay has the talent, has the size, just needs the opportunity, and I know for a fact that Matthew Stafford is not going to live with that 4 interception game and, be depressed about it. He's coming out to make a point. Kenny Golladay is going to be a great receiver this coming week as a hidden gem. I like Kenny Golladay as the Soul Stone right there on the pinky knuckle. Okay. Now, my next stone and hidden gem that I have found. I found it in Philadelphia, in which I have acquired Corey Clement, running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Corey Clement, I've seen with the time stone, after I acquired it, I looked into the future, and I saw Corey Clement busting out a breakout game against the Tampa Bay defense. Alvin Kamara in week 1 was able to collect 119-ish receiving yards versus this Tampa Bay defense while scorching them for 3 touchdowns. I agree. Yes, J.J. is going to take out the goal line work, but Corey Clement is a sneaky start and a hidden gem this week due to Darren Sproles' injury with his hamstring. He did not practice today. He did not even participate today, which is usually a bad sign. I see Corey Clement in this passing game coming this week, adding the time stone. Okay, don't worry. It's just live with it. The time stone and being a vital part of your fantasy lineup if you are struggling at the flex position in a deeper league. Corey Clement has a great opportunity this week to be a hidden gem for your fantasy lineup. Now, the last hidden gem I want to talk about this week. After collecting the Mind Stone, I found it in Tennessee, and the sacrifice had to be made. Delaney Walker was the sacrifice. Jonnu Smith is the product. The Mind Stone has given me all of the potential, the insight to select Jonnu Smith as this week's Mind Stone and hidden gem. Yes, Delaney Walker went down. Greg Olsen went down. Many of the tight ends throughout the entire fantasy landscape look like bums. Now, where do I see Jonnu Smith? Well, the tight end position at Tennessee has always been used. Over the past 4 seasons, Delaney Walker has been a consistent 60 reception minimum a year, 800 minimum yards, and a handful of touchdowns. I think Jonnu Smith stepping up into that tight end role will have an opportunity as this week's hidden gem at our tight end position with the Mind Stone. Okay? Now, it's pretty plain and simple. The way I see it, I have collected all 6 stones. Yes, that was quick, right? But with these 6 stones and these hidden gems, I think your fantasy lineup and my fantasy lineup will be dominant this week. You don't have to start every single one of these guys, but understand that all of them together have great power but I'm sure your lineups are already deadly. Don't worry about it. Now, I thought about snapping my fingers right now, but we're just going to wait a couple minutes, okay? Couple thoughts. To review, we have Brandon Marshall, Case Keenum, James White, Corey Clement, Jonnu Smith, and somebody else that I have completely forgotten, and Kenny Golladay. These guys, they're sleepers in your leagues. Sometimes they're just sitting on the waivers, right? There's an opportunity for you to go and pick them up, and if you're desperate enough, perhaps you've been hit with the injury bug, perhaps you're just afraid of specific matchups, these guys can roll on your lineup this week. I think they are primed and ready for breakout weeks. That's why I have them as my hidden gems. And that's plain and simple. I want to thank everybody for watching. Let me know what you think about this segment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And without further ado, I'm going to do that. And hopefully you don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.